gentlemen, welcome to another exciting edition of Our Bleepin City. I'm your host, Mikey Two Guns. Today it is my pleasure to welcome onto the show a man that took the amateur boxing world by storm. You probably heard of him. If you follow Barstool Sports, and I know a ton of you around here do, you've heard of this dude. He was an absolute bulldog and a beast in the ring and was the heavyweight champ for a long stretch in the Rough and Rowdy series. It's my pleasure to welcome onto the show Braintree's very own Bobby Lights Out Laing. Bobby, what is up? Welcome to the show, my man.
Hey, what's up? What's going on? Thanks for having me on.
How'd you get into boxing? Because I know it wasn't like you came from some pedigree family line where you were born into it. You played football, you played hockey at Braintree High.
Yeah, Braintree High.
And I know I've heard, about your legendary street fights. You had a good, a real good street fighting record.
Yeah.
How did the whole Barstool thing how did that come about?
So obviously you just said I used to get in fights all the time when I was younger, and I was like natural at it. Yeah. Like I used to just destroy people. Not that it's like impressive beating up untrained people, but I wasn't trained myself either. So one untrained kid versus another untrained kid, it's just like natural ability. And I used to just fucking destroy people. So around that. So anyways, one of my good friends though, he was a boxer and he was an amateur fighter, but then he became like a trainer. And at Bayshore Gym, they used to have a boxing program there. He was like the trainer over there, and he ran like the boxing classes and all that shit. And I used to just work out there. I never like boxed, but he was like one of my best friends. He was always trying to get me to box. Like, dude, you gotta fucking you be a natural at it. Like, you gotta stop boxing. And I was always like, yeah, I'll get around. Like, I always wanted to, but I'd work and shit. You know what I mean? And I played. In college I played football, and then I got a job, and after I graduated, I just like never got around to it, but I always wanted to. And then Barstool bought Rough and Rowdy in like 2017. Obviously, me and all my friends were all like big Barstool fans, stoolies, and we all followed Barstool and shit. So we all watched Rough and Rowdy. We'd like go, rent Rough and Rowdy and just like drink and watch it. And everyone, all my friends were always like, dude, if this ever comes to New England, you have to do it. Like, and I always like proclaimed that I would. Like, I was like, I will. If this ever comes to New England, I'm fucking signing up. I'll fucking go in there and beat the fuck out of someone. I always said I would do it. Yeah. This was back when they were always in like West Virginia and shit. They never were like local. So like, but then out of nowhere one day they Portnoy like announced on like social media like Rough and Rowdy coming to Providence, Rhode Island. Obviously, I woke up to like I had like 10 different fucking people sending it to me on like I had like 10 text messages like Rough and Rowdy coming to Rhode Island. So obviously I like at this point it was like, well, I got to put my money where my mouth is now, because I've been proclaiming that I would do this if it came, and now it's like put up or shut up, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh shit, I gotta fucking actually sign up for this now. So, but at the same time, like I said, my friend ran that boxing gym or the boxing program at Bayshore. So, I fucking signed up, and then I just, I started that day. Like, I literally submitted my application, and then I was like in the gym that day, and then they picked me, and then that was it. And I've been boxing ever since.
So you got, I heard on one of the earlier interviews, you got the name Lights Out from a street fight. Where I guess it was just a one punch, just kind of Tyson, just KO, boom.
There's some dickhead in college, fucking, I was having the party at my apartment. Yeah. Like, these fucking random kids were there, and they were all I fucking hated this group of kids. They were like, they'd always be like around, you know what I mean? Like through like mutual connections or whatever, like at parties, they'd be like, this circle of friends would always be there, like in the same parties that my circle of friends was at. And I didn't like these kids. And somehow they ended up in my apartment. And the kid did something I didn't like. So I went over and told him, I was like, all right, buddy, you got to leave. And he was like, go fuck yourself. And I was like, oh yeah. And I blasted him like one. That's the only time in my life I have a one punch showing. Actually one punch knocked the kid unconscious. I fucking just hit him once. Absolutely, literally unconscious before he even hit the ground. Then he started having a seizure, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I thought I was gonna get in fucking trouble. And then we dragged me, my friends fucking dragged his limp body out of my apartment, and that was that. But obviously my last name's Laing, so Lights Out Laing. It has a good ring to it. One of my buddies was just like, "Lights Out Laing, fucking knock your lights out." Like, so and it just like stuck. And then obviously a couple of years later, I started fighting Rough and Rowdy. It was like obviously I got to go with that for my name.
Yeah. What? So you applied. Obviously, that you got the great story. They obviously were like, "Yeah, we want you." When was the first time you talked to Portnoy? What was that like?
The first time I met him was at the first fight.
Oh, really?
Actually, at the weigh-in for the fight. So he used to go to the weigh-in. So like he would like go, because this was like back before he like blew up as big as he is. Like Barstool was pretty big back then, but not like what they are now.
Oh, it's global.
So he used to go like to the weigh-ins and like interview people and like do like shit like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like on the scene, like interviewing people and like, so back then when he was still doing that, that was, you know, at the weigh-in or whatever. I saw him there. I talked to him there. So that was the first time I met him.
Was he the same? Was he the same in person?
Yeah, I've met him a bunch of times since, obviously, like at all these fights, and he is literally like exactly the same in person as he is online. Like people always ask me that, to like, is he the same in real life? I'm like, dude, he is like not fake at all. Like he is exactly the same in real life. Like what you see on the internet is what you see in real life when you meet him.
Kind of reminds me of what I would have expected, and now it's coming true with you. You are as pretty much authentic as they get.
I like to think so.
I really I think for anyone that has not seen any of your fights, your style is just a brawling. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but your style is just a come right at you brawl, just mano a mano. You know. Phone. It's basically a fight in a phone booth.
That's pretty much accurate. That's basically what I do.
Yeah. So your first fight in Rough and Rowdy was your first like amateur fight ever. How did you feel going into that first fight? Was there like that? Was that like how nervous were you? Was there a lot of like butterfly? Like what was that?
Honestly, like not to sound like a hot ass, but like. I really wasn't nervous at all for that. I didn't start getting nervous. Like I get nervous now because there's the stakes are way higher. Like back then, I really didn't give a shit. Like it was just like I was kind of just doing it for fun. Yeah. Like you know what I mean? Like I said, I would sign up. It was kind of just like an exciting thing to do or whatever. Like I wasn't thinking I was gonna like stop making money like I ended up doing. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like trying to like make money and all that shit and like get to the next level. Like. So at that time, I really didn't get nervous because it was just like, yeah, whatever. I'm getting in a ring. I'm fighting this kid. Like at that time, going into it, I've been in a million street fights. Like, so I was like, I don't give a fuck. We have gloves on. Like, what's the worst that could happen? So I really wasn't nervous. Like I said, as I moved forward in my career, like as I kept fighting with them and started getting paid money to fight, like that's when the stakes got a lot higher. That's when I said, then I'd be like nervous. I'd be like, fuck, I have a good thing going. Like I don't want to ruin this. Like if I lose, I could fucking potentially ruin the good shit that I got going on. You know what I mean? So then I was getting nervous. Like it wasn't like I was scared of getting beat up. Right. I didn't care about that. I was just scared of losing what I had. You know what I mean? Like so it was like,
when there was something on the line.
I didn't lose what I had. That was it. So I got later on in my life or later on with all my fights, then I'd start getting nervous. But legit, my first one, I wasn't nervous at all. It was like, yeah, whatever. Get back in the ring and fight. Yeah.
Like you had nothing to lose. Like there wasn't any line. There was no pressure. Like
I knew like I was tough. I've been training for a while for that fight too. Yeah. I knew like, worst case scenario, I lost. I was still gonna like go out with honor. Like I wasn't gonna look like a bitch. Like I knew I had enough confidence in myself that like nothing I do in this ring is gonna like make me look bad. Like I'm gonna. If this kid beats me, it's just because he's better than me. But like, I'm not gonna go out like a bitch. Like I'm gonna fight hard as fuck. Like I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like obviously it didn't even matter because I destroyed the kid. Yeah, But like, win or lose, I knew I was gonna like, put on a decent show or a good performance or whatever. So I really wasn't worried at all for that first one. There was nothing to lose. I got paid like $250 to do that first one.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it was like.
So the fights, the Rough and Rowdy fights, you would get paid. Did it kind of like go up each fight a little bit as you started winning? Like, did they give you like
they had a whole like tier system basically for like basically like the better, like more exciting fighters that were like the popular ones that like were the main events.
Yeah.
They were all making good money, obviously myself included. And then like the average like nobodies that would just sign up to fight or whatever, they would usually, I think they got like, it was usually like if you win you get $500, if you lose you get nothing. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And then as you like got better, as you got like bigger, more high profile fights, they'd obviously pay you, you know, and you'd be making in the thousands. So,
right. Okay. So your first, like, would you say? So how far into your career? Because you ended up fighting Pacman Jones, the legendary football guy.
Yeah.
How did that fight come about? And what did you think of Pacman? Because he is quite the history.
Yeah. So I was like 5-0 at that time. That was my sixth fight with them. So after I won my fifth fight, I like called out. They interviewed me after all the time, and I would always like call people out and shit. But at the time, that fifth fight, there was, you know how they do the midget fights? They had like a WWE like wrestler who's like a midget or a little person is the correct thing to say, or if anyone gets offended.
I didn't say no. FCC.
Yeah. But I'm friends with all those dudes anyway. I've been fucking, I was fighting with them for years. Like, I'm cool with all of them. But anyways, there's this guy, Swoggle, I think his name was, a Hornswoggle. I don't know. He was in the WWE. He was fighting on it. So I knew there was going to be a bunch of WWE guys watching. Like I was like following it on social media leading up to it. They were all, every little post with him, like, there would be like 10 different WWE guys commenting on, like all these big jacked muscle guys, like commenting on everything. So I knew they were all watching for their friend that was fighting. So I was like, yeah, fuck it. I was trying to like get somebody with like a little bit of a name and a following, so I can make, I was just looking at it like make more money, like if I get a bigger fight. So I called out. I was like, hey, after I won my fifth fight that night, I was like, yeah, we're going to get some new competition in here, whatever. I'm beating everybody. I was like, all these fucking WWE guys that are watching, you're all fucking fake fighters. Like, I was just like throwing down the gauntlet for any challenges. And it worked, because when I said that on the commentary with like Dave and Big Cat and shit, they were like, that was a good call out. Like, how much money do you think it's going to take to get one of these guys to fight him? So that got the ball rolling on like people with like a little bit of a name, like famous or whatever, right? Watching, like started reaching out to Barstool saying like, hey, I'll fight this guy. Like there was a handful of like people that are like a little bit famous that like were interested, but Pacman was one of them. So Pacman, obviously he must have saw that somehow that word, that call out or whatever, like Pornoy was like, on the stream was like, how much are we gonna pay? 100 grand, 200 grand? Like, so obviously, like, he said it out loud for like everyone to hear, like that he's talking about paying a couple $100,000 for someone to fight me. So obviously, like, it got on people's radar. So, however, it ended up reaching Pacman. It did. So Pacman must have saw that, and he went on Pat McAfee. He went on his podcast, because he used to work for Barstool, and he like on the podcast was like, that kid Bobby Laing, who's the fighter for Rough and Rowdy, like, I want to fight him. Like, tell your contacts at Barstool to set it up or whatever. So obviously, fucking immediately they ran with it. Like, it was all over social media. Like the first, like the second he did it, and then obviously Barstool fucking was posting it all over their shit. So then they obviously the promoter called me right away and was like, "Do you see this? Pacman Jones just fucking went on Pat McAfee's show and called you out." Yeah. Like, are you down to fight him? I was like, yeah, I'm fucking down. Let's do it. So that was that. And then
how hyped were you when you got the word you're gonna get someone big like that? Were you just?
I was pumped, because that was like my plan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I called out all these WWE guys, like that was just like a strategic call out. I didn't actually give a shit if any of them answered. Like, I was just trying to get somebody with like a big following that Boston would be willing to like pay me good money to fight, which is what they did, obviously.
How much you make for that fight?
I got I'm not supposed to talk, but I don't think, but whatever, fucking, it's been like 4 years. I make this shit. I got 50 grand for that one.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Really nice. I know Pacman was. I remember watching the second fight. Big Cat was like, Pacman wants to make sure I got the cash like on hand, or else he's not coming in the ring. And I know
they made a side bet over. I
really.
think they bet like two grand. Like he basically he Big Cat bet on me. Pacman lost, so we had to pay him $2 grand or something like that.
I got it. So I was watching that first fight, and man, and I get it. Deion Sanders, Pacman is like their NFL brothers. Well, man, Deion was giving you no respect in that fight until you finally won, and you kind of took it, and he had to. But that was
I don't blame him. Whatever. Pacman's obviously is a good friend of his, so like he's gonna obviously be biased. You can't help that. It's human nature to be support your friend.
Yeah, for sure. Did Pacman? Those fights actually were pretty entertaining. A lot of the celebrity fights can be a letdown. You know, you get a guy like a Jose Canseco and fight someone and it'll just be terrible. But those fights were pretty entertaining. How did you? Did anything about him surprise you? Like,
he was obviously this sounds dumb because like obviously he was. I was gonna say his athleticism surprised me, but like. And when I say that, people are like, yeah, what'd you expect? He's a fucking NFL cornerback. Obviously, he was wicked athletic.
Yeah.
But his like side to side movement was like way quicker than what I expected. That was like I had trouble with that at first. The first round, I came right at him, and he was like getting on like the side of me like wicked easily. Like I would go straight. I was going at him, and he was just like next thing you know, he'd be like on my fucking shoulder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that side speed that he had, his movement on his feet was like I knew obviously he was going to be wicked athletic, but that it was like I never fought anybody at that point who could move like that.
You almost don't realize the level of athleticism of a pro athlete until you experience it, right?
Yeah, that was definitely like I was like, oh shit, like right away, like 30 seconds in, I was like, oh fuck, this guy is like a beast. Like, I mean, like, I'm definitely like a more skilled fighter than he is, but his just natural ability is obviously like light years above mine.
So you beat him 2 fights. How was he outside of it? Were you guys like? Was he cool? Was he a shithead?
He was cool with me the whole time. I have no problem with him. He was outside the ring. He was cool. We got along fine. It was just. He was very professional with everything.
If you could fight anyone right now, who's the fighter you'd want to fight?
Honestly, I don't have anyone like in particular that I want to. I just want to get like the biggest name that I can get, where I can make the most amount of money and get like the most amount of publicity for it. That's really it. Like everyone used to always say, call Jake Paul. I'm like, he's not gonna fucking answer. Like, you know what I mean? Like. That's why I did the WWE route back then, because everyone kept telling me to call Jake Paul, and I was like, he's not even gonna fucking respond. I'm like, but these guys might, you know what I mean? One of these guys might, and obviously it didn't go the way I thought. Pacman Jones is the one that responded, but whatever, it worked. Like I got somebody who was like, you know, someone with like a following that's gonna get like high publicity on a fight that, you know, that's gonna be like worth the money. Like that was my plan all along, and it worked. So. I'm trying. That's kind of my mindset now that I've gone professional, and I want to whatever fight is going to get me like the most money and the most publicity. That's what I'm trying to do.
Is this like your full-time job?
I'm a correctional officer for my full-time job.
You are? Oh,
I've been there for like a little over 10 years.
Nice.
I kept it a secret when I was doing Rough and Rowdy, but now that I'm done doing Rough and Rowdy, I can talk about it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because they were like, when I first started fighting Rough and Rowdy, obviously all like the shit talking videos that you have to do. It's like they were always like my union. I like asked my union rep like the first day. I was like, hey, can I get in trouble for any shit that I like do online? They were like, no, as long they were like, don't ever talk about your job. Don't ever like bring your job. Like, don't ever say where you work, and like you're good. So. I'm not gonna say where I work, but I am a correctional officer. But in Massachusetts, but I'm not gonna say where. But but whatever. I'm not doing enough round anymore anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But whatever.
I bet none of the inmates fuck with you.
No. I get along with most of them. It's never really been an issue like that.
So I want to ask. So the whole Rough and Rowdy event in West Virginia. Was it hard to keep your focus on fight because you got you got all this crazy shit going on in the crowd. You got like stormtroopers, you got people dressed up crazy, you got the big cat, you got comedians. There's so much stuff going on. Like how did you keep your focus during those? Was it hard to keep your focus, or were you just like in the zone? What goes on? Like, and what was that like fighting? And what was West Virginia like?
Honestly, I really didn't have trouble keeping my focus because I didn't care about any of the other stuff. Like I'm so focused on winning, that was really all I cared about. They would always want me to do like the extra shit, like they want to come do interviews and they want to do like the showy stuff. So I would do basically I would do whatever they asked me to do. I would do because I'm like a team player or whatever for whatever they had going on. But that was never really like my mindset doing that. Like I did that shit just to get it over with, so I get back to my locker room and be like prepared to fight. The stormtrooper thing was actually like kind of like my idea.
Really?
It was so the kid, the guy that secretly runs Rough and Rowdy for Barstool is, I don't know if you follow, how well you follow all the people, but Devlin is the one that like runs Rough and Rowdy. Okay. So I would always talk with him about like what we got, the plans going, what we got going on or whatever. And I used to always say I wanted to come out to because I'm a big Star Wars guy. I used to always say I wanted to come out to the Darth Vader theme song, and have like a bunch of stormtroopers walk with me. And he was like, dude, we want to do that. Like I like forgot about it. Then like I don't know, hey, remember the Star Wars plan? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, would you be down to do that still? And I was like, yeah, definitely. And then I was like, but who are we gonna get? And he's like, we're gonna get a bunch of like Providence. This is when I fought in Providence against Pacman the second time. He was like, we're gonna get a bunch of Providence college kids to dress up as stormtroopers. So I was like, yeah, if you guys can pull it off, I'll fucking do it. And then that I like forgot about it. Then like that day, they like came into my locker room and he had a fucking Darth Vader helmet. And I'm like, I was like, oh shit, it's happening. He's like, yeah, we paid like fucking, I don't remember what they threw them all a little bit of money. They had like 10 different college kids from Providence College that they bought like stormtrooper outfits for them and had them dressed up and walk out with me. Nice. And I obviously wore the Darth Vader helmet and came out, so it was pretty cool. So that's the only time I ever did anything like showmanship or whatever, like extra. That was like kind of my own doing. Like that was kind of like I made that happen. But mostly it was all Barstool doing anything extra like that. It was them like they were the ones making that happen. I just was like, I would just go along with whatever they told me to do. But like I really just cared about winning. So I was still like, I'd be in my locker room like hitting the mitts, like focused, ready to go. Like I wasn't, I didn't give a shit about the other stuff. I cared about winning fights.
Did you watch? Because you'd usually be like one of the last fights of the night. Was that tough to wait that whole time? And would you be watching the other fights, or what would you be doing that whole time?
Yeah, I hated waiting all night. It's the worst. It's literally the worst thing ever. The other day, my fucking fight at Fenway, I was first. I was the first fight of the night, and it was so much better. Like I was like, I wish I could do this every time. Like just showed up, got my shit on, and fucking got out there and fought. Like so much better. Like normally, and then afterward, I'm just like, obviously it went good. I won. So I was in the crowd, like drinking beers, watching the rest of the night. Like it's way better going first. Going last sucks because you're sitting around all fucking day. Like you're sitting around for like 6 hours waiting. You know what I mean?
Enjoy yourself.
And sometimes the locker room situation sucks. Like you know what I mean? Like sometimes it depends. Like I fought in all these different places all over West Virginia. Like sometimes they have like a good a lot of times they do like hockey rinks. Like they put a ring in the middle of the they obviously put like same way you put like a basketball court down over the ice. They put like a court down over the ice, and then they put the ring in the middle. So hockey rinks were my favorite because the locker rooms were like sick. You know what I mean? Like having like a hockey rink locker room was perfect. But there were other times where it's like you just like there's a fucking curtain hanging up and there's like 17 people sitting there in like chairs. You know what I mean? Like metal chairs. Like it just so that shit sucks. And then when you got to sit there for 6 straight hours waiting to fight, like it's horrible. So
would your opponent be in the room too there?
No, they always separate the each corner. That you know what I mean. They'd have like red corner, blue corner, whatever. They have like 2 different areas, so you're not sitting there with your guy able to fight.
Who was your toughest fighting in Rough and Rowdy?
The kid I fought. I would say two. I lost twice, so obviously it was one of those two. The last time I fought in a Rowdy, I lost to kid Hunter, the tall kid, the Polish Hammers, fucking like 6'8".
Yeah.
That was, I thought, the toughest fight, and obviously I lost. So I didn't. I actually thought I won. I watched it after, and I'm convinced I won, and like I feel like I got robbed, but whatever. I'm not gonna like bitch about it. But either way, it was like a battle. You know what I mean? So I would say that was my toughest fight.
Would you say those type of fighters that are real tall or real like guys that you're not, I guess, not necessarily used to sparring against, are those kind of the ones that might give you the most trouble? Would you say, like, just the awkwardness of it?
So my style, I'm actually pretty good at fighting tall people because I just get in close. Like I you know what I mean, I keep my hands up and I try to get in closer on top of them. Sometimes I do really well against tall people. He was obviously like above average tallness because he was like 6'8". Yeah. I mean, he used to fighting kids that are like 6'2", 6'3". This kid was 6'8", but he was really strong for his, like I thought he was gonna be like tall and skinny and fucking weak, and I was gonna be able to push him around, but he was actually like wicked strong, which normally I'm stronger than people, so I had a lot of trouble. He was stronger than I thought, so I mean, I guess that definitely like threw a wrench into my game plan, but I still think I won. Whether I won or lost, it was still a wicked hard like battle, in my opinion. Yeah, so I would say that was probably my hardest fight.
Was that tough after you know, because you came out and you were just smoking? I mean, smoking everybody. After your first loss, was that kind of like a tough pill to swallow? Just because like you're used to winning, like and there's a new thing, a new experience for you. Was that tough, or was that?
Yeah. My first loss, I don't know if you remember, but it was the one I split my head. Me and the kid head-butted, and it split my fucking head open wicked bad, and I was gushing blood everywhere.
Remember that? Yeah,
blood was all in my eyes. Like, I'm not making excuses. Like I literally couldn't see. I had so much fucking blood in my eyes, I couldn't see shit. So, and the kid I was fighting was really good. You know, he was just as good as me.
Right.
And then the doctor was like gonna stop it, and he didn't. Because he asked me, he was like, I should stop it, but he's like, I know you guys got a lot of money on the line, or something like that. Because he said it to me after. He said to me after the fight why he didn't. He was like, I knew you guys had a lot of money on the line. That's why I didn't stop it. And I'm like, well, I fucking lost. So I mean, you didn't do me any favors. Like,
right. Because why tell you that now? Yeah.
The way it was structured, you always made more if you won. So which he knew. And he's like, well, I knew you had a lot of money. I'm like, yeah, but I was like, but I fucking lost. So I'm like, if you called, because if he had stopped it over the headbutt, it would have been a no contest.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, I would have rather taken a no contest than a fucking loss.
With the purse.
But anyways, in the ring, he was like, it's up to you. Do you want to continue? And I'm like, yes. Like, any fighter is going to say yes. Like, that's, you know what I mean? If you say no, you're a fucking pussy. Like,
right.
But at the same time, I couldn't even see because how much fucking blood I had in my eyes from a headbutt. It wasn't really a hard pill to swallow because I was just mad because I was like, this is bullshit. I want a rematch. And then I got a rematch and I won the second time. So, you know what I mean? So that kind of like righted that wrong. Like when I won the second time, I was like, yeah, that's what should have happened the first time. You know what I mean? So the second loss was harder for me to accept because I just straight up lost fair and square. There's no excuse.
Recently, Fenway Park put on the first boxing event in 70 years.
Yep.
You became a part of that history of bringing boxing back to Beantown, back to Fenway, one of the most iconic parks. Everyone around the globe knows Fenway. How did that come about, and what was that like to fight in basically one of the cathedrals of sports?
Yeah. So Rough and Rowdy's like taking like a fucking hiatus or whatever. They're not going to be back for a while, according to my contacts there. Like, so it's been a while since I fought Rough and Rowdy. I was holding out for them to come back.
Yeah.
And basically, my people that I talked to at Barstool that like are in charge of Rough and Rowdy were like, yeah, we're taking like a long break from it. It's not going to be back for a while, if at all. Like, so. So my options moving forward would obviously turn professional. So I was waiting. So me and my coach talked about this like a while ago, and I'm like, hey, Rough and Rowdy's like over, so I gotta find somewhere. I gotta move on to something else. The only option for me is like to go pro for real.
Yeah.
so we were just waiting for like the right opportunity. I've been training every day, like for this, for the last year. I've been training, like waiting for the right opportunity to come along. A couple things almost happened, like different promotions that I was talking to that, could never like come to an agreement or whatever. It was never like beneficial to me. I kind of felt like they were trying to like use me as like a fucking pawn for their own benefit.
Gotcha.
So I said no to a few different options that I had along the way, and I was just like in the gym grinding. Like I'm like, something will come along. Like hopefully, something's gonna come along eventually. So finally, a good opportunity came along. The Nolan brothers, my trainer, he trains another kid who's a pro fighter who's fought for the Nolan brothers multiple times. So he fought on the same card. Like, so he was already fighting. So my coach like knows the Nolan brothers through that connection, and was like, hey, the Rough and Rowdy kid, like Bobby Laing, and they're like, yeah, we know him. We've seen all those Rough and Rowdy fights or whatever. And they're like, he was like, yeah, like I'm trying to turn him professional. Like keep him in mind for one of your shows. And they were like, right away, they're like, we actually have one more spot left on this card. Like, do you guys want to do it? And we were like, fuck it, yeah, let's do it. So that was it. Fucking, they offered me the opportunity, and I said yes, and it went well. So I'm glad I said yes.
Yeah, I know the Nolan brothers personally.
You do?
Great dudes. I used to train at the gym before they opened their gym. I used to train at the gym that they were at before.
Okay.
Great dudes.
Yeah. I made the right choice by waiting. Like, you know what I mean? Like all these other places that I like said no to. Yeah. I had like 3 different options that I said no to over the last like year. And it kept like, I'd say no, and then like a month later, I'd be like, "Fuck!" Like now another month's gone by, and then it was 2 months, and then 3 months, and then next it's like a year since I fought, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, I thought I was gonna get more offers flying my way after like my publicity from Rough and Rowdy, but I guess not. But then the point is, it worked out because then the Nolan brothers came along, and I'm glad that I waited till I met them. You know what I mean? So it all worked out good. So I'm glad that I got linked up with them, and I'm hoping to keep fighting for them, moving forward.
Was what was that atmosphere like fighting there?
It was crazy. Obviously, I have a different like background because of my Rough and Rowdy experience. I've been in that environment. I've been in crazy environments like that a million times. I think some people might have been, other fighters might have been like, oh shit, this is the craziest crowd I've ever like fought in front of or whatever, like the biggest crowd. I've done it. You know what I mean? I've been in front of an environment like that a million times already. So like it was nothing new to me.
Do you prefer to fight someone you respect or someone that you don't like?
I'd rather fight someone I like get along with and respect because I don't like the fucking back and forth like when. Because there was one kid I fought in Rough and Rowdy who was a fucking dickhead. I got along with everybody for the most part, respectful or whatever. There was one kid who was a dickhead, and it was like the whole fucking time leading up to it was just like constant talking shit back and forth. And it's like, dude, I don't care to talk shit to you. We're gonna fight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is the point of talking shit?
Right.
You keep telling me you're gonna beat my ass. Like, prove it. You know what I mean? Like, when all right, you're gonna get your opportunity. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so to me, it's like a waste of time, and energy, talking shit, going back and forth, fucking talking shit with somebody. It's like, dude, I don't care. Like, we're both scheduled to fight on this date. Let's just fucking go there and fight. Like, what? Why are we wasting our time? And that kid looked like a fucking clown because I beat him. Like, after all that,
you let your fists do the talking in the ring.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are some of your favorite fighters? Do you have a favorite fighter, boxer?
Mike Tyson's my favorite fighter of all time. I fucking love Mike Tyson. Obviously, I'm 33 years old, so like I didn't really grow up watching him, but I've seen all his fights on YouTube. Like,
love Tyson.
Yeah, and I try to like copy his style as best I can. You know what I mean? Like his like, obviously I'm not even close to as good as what he does, but I keep my hands on my face, and I get low, and I fucking try to get on top of people, like same way he did.
So, how quickly now? You just won your debut TKO,
third round
TKO. You look good, real good. How quickly do you want to get back in the ring?
The Nolan brothers are talking about August as the next one, so we're trying to figure something out. Me and my coach are already talking about trying to get me back in there in August.
That's good. And you came out of the fight, no injuries, no, everything's good.
Yeah, no new injuries. I have existing injuries that I've been dealing with for years. My body's falling apart, but I'm 33 years old, so I don't, shit hurts me more now than it used to, but I'm fine. Nothing like real, you know what I mean? Just like I'm just sore, but I'll be fine. I'll be good to go when I'm, in a few weeks or whatever.
What's that mean to you to represent the Bay State boxing, just to be a local guy and now put especially with the Fenway event? What's that mean to you? A lot of the up and coming young guys that are looking up to you. What does that mean to you to be one of the faces now of Boston boxing resurgence?
Well, so I had a good thing going with Rough and Rowdy for a long time, but I know there was like a lot of people that like look down on it or look down on me personally for like I'm not a real boxer. I'm fighting in Rough and Rowdy. It's a joke. The whole thing's a fucking joke or whatever. That's what some people thought. So I always wanted to have my goal was always to go professional for real someday, just to fucking prove people wrong and just to prove to myself that I could do it. Now that I'm like officially a pro boxer, it's like it's a little bit of like a sense of accomplishment. Just now, all the people that talk shit about Rough and Rowdy all these years, I can be like, basically, go fuck yourself. Like, Rough and Rowdy was a fucking joke. But well, now what? You know what I mean? One of the things that fuels me, and always did, even in Rough and Rowdy, it always did, was just like when people like talk shit to me and like doubt me, it motivates me to like work harder. You know what I mean? Like, when people like, I'd read the comments of people like, "Oh, this kid fucking this and that." I'd be like, "Fuck these motherfuckers." You know what I mean?
Right. How long you want to fight for?
As long as I can. I'm 33. Obviously, I'm not naive. I know it's like Father Time's gonna catch up to me eventually, but hopefully I can go another, till I'm fucking 38 or something like that. Maybe even 39, 40, like this.
Right.
I'm gonna keep doing it as long as I can.
Would you consider? Because I know now it's getting big. Would you consider something like BKFC, bare knuckle fighting?
Yeah, it's funny. That used to always be the thing. People be like, dude, you gotta do this. Like, fucking your style. You'd be good at bare knuckle. I would definitely consider it, but it'd have to be worth it. I'm not gonna do anything now at this stage. If you asked me like 4 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, all for it. Now that I'm like I said, I'm 33.
Yeah, I'm
not doing anything now that's like not in my best interest. You know what I mean? No. Like, I'm not willing to do the shit that I used to be willing to do. Like, now it's like, you got to make it worth my while. If they made it worth my while and it was in my best interest, then yes, I would definitely be down to do it. But I'm not gonna
You're not gonna ruin the
knocking
business.
On their door, fucking begging for an opportunity. Like, if they offer it to me and it's a good opportunity, then yeah, I'll consider it. But I'm not going out of my way for anybody anymore now at this point.
Do people recognize you when you're out?
Yeah, not as much anymore, but during like my Rough and Rowdy prime, it was like all the time. Every bar I went to, people would recognize me. Yeah.
Nice. Well, Bobby, I don't want to keep you too long, but man, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. I hope everyone has a chance to if the public hasn't seen your fights, to go to YouTube, check out Bobby's fights, the Rough and Rowdy fights. Electric. I wish you the best. I hope your career explodes here in Boston, because your style is, there's nothing to not love about your style. Bobby, pleasure having you on the show, and I wish you the best things going forward, my man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you having me on the show.